Welcome to NinjaCast, a photography podcast powered by Studio Ninja, the world's highest rated business management app, built specifically for photographers. Listen and learn as the most successful photographers on the planet share their knowledge to help you transform every element of your photography business. Here's your host, Sally Shaw.
Hi guys, welcome to NinjaCast. Today I am joined by Ian and Pippa of the Wisdom Mill. Ian and Pippa are insane photographers in their own right and have shot over 300 weddings and events between them. They've now started up the Wisdom Mill to help educate other photographers and transform their businesses. So without further ado, I present to you Ian and Pippa. Hello, how are you?
Yay!
How are you guys? How are things?
Yeah, we're good, thank
We're
you.
good. Yeah. I mean, I think it's such a weird time, isn't it? And I think, when you ask somebody how they are, it's such a loaded question.
Absolutely.
And I think even within a day, if you ask somebody how they are, how is everything in the morning, and then in the afternoon, it can be completely different.
Absolutely, yeah.
But
We're good.
We're good. We feel incredibly fortunate. We have our health, touch wood. We have space, which I think is a godsend, and it's definitely something that we don't take for granted.
Absolutely.
How are you all doing?
Yeah, we're doing okay. We're not doing too badly. I myself I'm a photographer as well as being with Studio Ninja, so I've had the same experience as a lot of people in the industry now with postponing a lot of weddings to next year. Thankfully, I've not had any cancellations, so that's been a real godsend. But yeah, just kind of trying to take each day as it comes, really.
Yeah, we just all need to adapt, don't we, to the situation for the next.
Adapt, staying positive.
Yeah.
And then I think, have you got a family?
I've got a husband and 3 children.
Oh, wow. What ages are they?
They are 7, 9 and 10.
Okay, so are you homeschooling?
Yes.
Have you been homeschooling? And how is that going?
It's good, yeah. It's absolutely fine. They kind of do their own thing, to be honest. I've just got to kind of give them the time to do it, give them the space to do it, and say, okay, so for example, we do Monday, Wednesday, Friday is homeschooling days, and they get a bit of a break on a Tuesday and a Thursday. But they kind of go off and do their own thing. They know what they need to do. It's very much led by the teachers, really. It's just kind of making sure that they are there doing it.
Yeah.
How about you guys? Are you homeschooling at the moment?
We've got a 7-year-old, and so it's a juggle. It is a juggle when you have your own business, and we've just got one. So it's been interesting. It's been interesting. She hasn't sacked us yet as her teacher.
It's definitely one of those times, I think, in years to come, we're all gonna definitely reflect on and remind grandchildren of, and say, you wouldn't believe this 3-month period that we had where we were all locked down, we couldn't go out. It's just something you don't ever expect, isn't it?
No.
It's going to be some amazing stories that can never be repeated.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I've made Matt's daughter a bit of a photo album scrapbook, and it's on the front, it's carved with lockdown memories. And at the bottom, it says something along the lines of 2020, the year we all stayed at home to save the world and made amazing memories, or something like that.
Oh, I love that.
And it's just photos, because she doesn't normally live with us. She normally lives with her mum. So it's just photos of her time with us in the last 3 months. It's been really lovely to have her, to be honest, and have that extra time. Okay, so for our listeners that maybe don't know about you guys and don't know about your journey so far, can you perhaps start by telling us a little bit about yourselves and your journey to date?
Okay,
Yeah.
shall I go first?
You do that.
Okay, so so I actually began I began working in documentaries, in TV documentaries. So I worked for Discovery Channel for quite a few years.
Wow.
And I loved that. I loved the whole storytelling, making great programs. My role was as a producer and also as a photographer. And then in 2000, and then I kept in documentaries. And then in 2005, we actually got engaged.
2004.
Oh, sorry.
It's normally the other way round that people get put right.
This one forgets our wedding date.
No, I don't forget the date. I just forget the year.
Forget the year.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So 2004. Have you been married a long time? Did you say 2004?
Yeah.
2006
Yeah.
we got married.
No, we got engaged in 2005 and got married in 2006. We had a year engagement. We didn't have
Actually,
2 year
no,
engagement.
I'm wrong.
Hello. Hello. Okay,
Anyway.
I have witnesses now. Oh my goodness, this is great. Okay. So 2005, we got engaged, and the world of kind of documentaries was changing. It was getting harder to get documentaries commissioned. My priorities were changing. I'd been traveling a lot. I wanted to be more based at home, and I also wanted to focus as a photographer. I had no intention of going into weddings. It was really by looking for our own wedding photographer that took me down the road that I then went down. I was looking for something that I felt passionate about. I love storytelling. Because of getting married, I loved weddings, and so it just kind of it happened very, very naturally and quite unexpectedly. I photographed a few friends' weddings, which I know a lot of photographers begin. I realized that I loved it, so that was really where the business as a wedding photographer began. I'll pass over to you, and then you can say.
Yeah, so Pip started the business in 2005, and my background was originally in film and TV, and then I moved into graphic design and multimedia design. And then I was working in the city at the time in 2009, and I took redundancies. It was the time of the crash, and I'd had enough of the commute, a 2-hour commute to work every day.
Oh wow!
Backwards and forwards. So I joined I was working for a law firm. I was heading up their design team at the time, and I took redundancy and joined the family firm. And it was then we kind of brought together our skills, Pip's photography skills and amazing networking skills, people person, and my design skills, and we rebranded the business in 2009, and then it was in 2009 that we had an idea for our wedding book, which is it's one of the things that sets us aside. It's a really high-end luxury product that we have it made. We sourced a bookmaker that doesn't work for the wedding industry. You know, they're a high-end. Well, they're a craft business. They make really high-end quality handmade books. So we had this concept for our book, which we introduced in 2009, rebranded the business, and it's evolved from there. Really, we've always, right from that point, we had a vision to work in the high-end luxury market, and we've built our brands and moved on from there. Really.
Wow, what a whirlwind few years for you both.
It has. Yeah.
Does it feel like the pace of life has changed quite dramatically from you guys when you look back to what you both used to do to what you do now?
It's a long distance memory.
When was that? It was so long ago. I think it's when you have a family, that's when things change, and you realise, that before you have children, life was so simple. Even though it might feel like it was a really busy life that you had, it's a juggle that is, very different to when you don't have so many priorities.
Yeah. As photographers, we're very lucky, aren't we? We work from home, so if you have a family, you're really lucky. You get to spend, myself as a father, I get to spend a lot of time with our daughter Poppy that, you know, if I was working in the city, I wouldn't necessarily do.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But no, I think, there's never, you'll know, you know, when you run a business, you never stop. You know, even at a time like this when we don't have the same opportunity to be out photographing, we're still really busy. You're still looking at your business and thinking, okay, you know, what can I be doing?
There's so much that goes on behind closed doors, isn't there? And so many things that in a normal year, when you are shooting so many weddings, that you just don't get the time to do. It's been a welcome time for a lot of people, I think, time to just refresh and sit down and evaluate their business and say, what do I need to change? What have I always wanted to change?
Exactly.
Completely. And I know the word reset is being used a lot, isn't it? And I think it's a great word, and I think it's going to be really interesting when we come out of this. How I think, well, I heard a statistic that over 80% of people don't want to go back to how their life was before.
Wow.
And so it will be really interesting to see how many actually follow through with that and do change.
I mean, it is a really difficult time for all of us, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, we're feeling it. Everyone's feeling it.
Yeah.
But you know, it is important to take the positives out of this, and this has given us an opportunity to, you know, reassess the business, look at the things that aren't working, maybe look at things that we can do totally differently, different avenues we can take.
It gives us time.
Yeah.
Definitely. Welcome time as well, I think. It's been lovely to reconnect with family and spend that bit of time at home, because we're, as photographers, so used to, aren't we? You know, we're out most weekends, we're doing long hours. And the family side of things does kind of take a back seat in wedding season sometimes for a lot of people. So I think it's been lovely. And, you know, I've heard a lot in the industry that it's, you know, we would be in full fire weddings at the moment. We would be back to back, just going from one wedding to another. So it's definitely a really big change for the industry that right now, you know, we're the 3rd of July and it's quiet. It's
yes. And you look at your diary and you have 3 weekends for indefinitely, and you're like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
But we're finding that we have even less time for business. We just, there's not enough hours in the day because we're, you know, again, if you've got children, you're homeschooling. I mean, literally, so your time's cut in half. So our man hours on business is so much less, and because if you're an entrepreneur, you're always looking at different ways to make, you know, to move your business, and it's finding those hours, you know.
But then I think also though it's again pulling on positives, and I think you have to in a time like this. You have to, you know, and because our time is cut shorter, it means that when you sit down at your desk and you have a 2-hour window or whatever for work, you really focus on the important things, and you don't get sidetracked by, you know, going online or going on to Instagram and, you know, finding that you're there for 20 minutes. You just don't have that time. So it's a really good time for having a real clarity and focus and vision, and really making use of every minute that you have.
I agree, absolutely. So you guys have photographed a hell of a lot of weddings between the two of you. Am I right in saying that it's over 300?
Yes.
Yeah. So we have there's Ian and I, and then we have a team as well of associates who are fantastic. We work with some amazing photographers, and they're all really, really successful photographers in their own right, and we're often shooting 2 weddings. We stick to 25. Our target's always 25 weddings a year, no more than that. But you know, the way things work, we're very often photographing a wedding on the same day. So there's always one day in the year, isn't it, that you could book time and time again.
Yeah,
I think twice we've had 3 weddings on one day. So we've had all the team out.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yes.
And how do you guys feel about that? So do do you feel any pressure with sending people out on your behalf, or are you you're comfortable now with that fact?
No, we trust them. We only use photographers that we know. We get to know them, and we have full confidence in their ability. Like I say, they're fantastic professionals in their own right.
Yeah.
And they're also all really, really lovely people.
Yeah.
I think, you'll know, Sally, as a photographer, yes, you need to be able to take great photographs, but so much of what we are and who we are is about us as a person, putting our couples at ease, and just having that rapport. And so, the photographers that we have working with us, we're so lucky. They're amazing photographers, but they are also just the loveliest people.
Well, that's what this industry is all about, I think. It's hard work being a wedding photographer. And so, and shooting weddings, it's all about the people you work with and the couples you work with that make it amazing, make it worthwhile.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to love weddings to be in the industry. You've got to really love it.
Yeah.
So can you guys maybe share, this is going to be a tough one, but maybe share one of your most amazing memories, each of you individually, kind of your favourite wedding or event that you've shot to date.
Okay.
You go first.
Okay. I had the amazing privilege and opportunity of photographing an incredible 4-day wedding in the Serengeti, which was it 4 years ago? 4 years ago, I think it was. And
you took one of our associates, Stephen.
Yeah, Stephen and I shot it together. The story began from the UK, so the client had a private plane that flew everyone from the UK out to the Serengeti. So we flew to Kilimanjaro, and then there were hopper planes, and then there was Land Rovers that then took us to the Four Seasons in the Serengeti, and they'd taken over the hotel for 4 days. And I mean, for me, because of my background in documentaries, and I spent 3 years focused on wildlife filming, so it just embraced everything that I love. Travel, wildlife, a love story, it had everything. The most loveliest of couples. It was just, it was a great team of suppliers that we were working with. And there was obviously the wedding day, but there were shoulder events on either side. They had cocktails out on the Serengeti. There was safaris that went out at dawn. I got to have an afternoon with 4 of the Maasai warriors, taking photographs of them, and they'd never been really professionally photographed before, and they were just, it was on so many levels. It was just off the scale.
Phenomenal, like a real once in a lifetime kind of.
Yeah, and again, I think, but then stripping it back, I think the longer, the more weddings that we photograph and the longer that we're doing this, it's not about the most extravagant wedding. It's not about the wedding that had the biggest budget necessarily. It's about the people. And the people, just everybody, it just, I came back, and you just feel, you're obviously tired, but you have that feeling of great sense of joy and luck, and feeling really lucky.
I bet you ran to Lightroom as quickly as you could.
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah. So that was my one.
Yeah, so I guess for me, we're really lucky to have shot some really amazing, elaborate events and weddings over our time. But I guess the most amazing one for me was my first destination event, and that was so not long after I joined the business, actually, in 2010. I photographed, I can't remember how we got the gig, but I photographed a really high profile individual who obviously I can't mention names, but it was a 10th wedding anniversary. It wasn't actually a wedding, it was a 10th wedding anniversary of this couple, and they took 60 of their, again, high profile friends on the Orient Express from Gare du Nord in Paris. So we all travelled to Paris, and then everyone met on the platform at Gare du Nord, and we all got on the Orient Express, and they had drinks and dinner on the Orient Express. It was an overnight train to Como, so they took, well, I think it was about 60 to 70 of their friends on the Orient Express to Como, and then we spent 2 days. We stayed at Villa d'Este, which is, I mean, it's the elite, it's the most amazing hotel. And while I was there, actually, I'm a huge movie buff, huge movie fan. So Robert De Niro was staying in the hotel, and just, it was like, oh my God, you know, and seeing him was amazing. But so we had the most amazing time on at Villa d'Este, and then they had a party on Villa Balbinello, which again it's the most amazing villa on the lake. And then, yeah, we had a just amazing couple of days and they were really lovely people. Again, you know,
But Dave, can I also just say can I just add in another wedding that I loved, that we both loved, which is completely to the extreme of this. So, and I think this is also a great example of how you can never judge who your client is going to be. And the wedding that I'm going to say was a couple who they lived nearby, and they were having a very, very low budget wedding, and they were getting married on a farm, in a barn. They were doing everything themselves. They were bringing in all the family and all the friends were doing everything, the flowers and the catering and everything. The church was right next to the barn, literally kind of just a short walk up the field into the church. The church was, I don't know how many hundreds of years old. It was tiny. There was no electricity. It was so rustic and so simple, and everything was stripped back. And they wanted to have us as their photographers, and it was one of the most special weddings ever.
Felt very privileged.
So privileged.
So it's kind of, we have such some amazing, but it always comes down to the people.
Yeah, really completely. Completely.
Yeah.
So when you say it comes down to the people, do you think that's very much because you have quite a big emphasis on telling a story and being storytellers as photographers, that you feel that it's the connection between people that really make that spark for you?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
As documentary photographers.
It comes down to that rapport and making sure that, you know, the couples that you photograph are your ideal client, you know, that and I think as you get more experienced in business to begin with, you know, you don't want to say no to anything. And then as you get more experienced and you look back and go, okay, that was a challenging one. Now, why was that challenging? Okay, I didn't manage their expectations or whatever, and you learn from it, and then you have the confidence to say no if your gut is going, this isn't right for you. And I think, you know, as we have every right to say no to a couple as much as they say that we're not right for them. And it's having that, you know, that confidence to do that.
Definitely. And do you guys maybe have any tips for photographers that are looking to improve their storytelling skills?
I mean, the key to storytelling is really, I think, understanding the story you're telling, really. So it's really important to get to know the people whose story you're telling. So, you know, we spend a lot of time, we invest a lot of our time really in our couples and really getting to know them, chatting to them, finding out about their events,
And just about their values, what they're like as people, what, you know, have they got a family, what they got children, have they got dogs, have they, and just really building a trust and a confidence with them, so that when, and that can be done, you know, just on the phone, on video calls, if you can meet up, if you do an engagement shoot, you know, all of that are ways to develop that rapport. Sometimes, you know, often you don't have that opportunity to actually meet in person, but you can do all of that, though, almost just as well on a video call.
It's great to turn up to a wedding and, I'll say turn up to the groom's house or the hotel where he's getting ready, and it's all, you know, if you turn up and they're comfortable with you, oh, hi Ian, and everybody, this is Ian, he's our photographer, you know, really, you know, great guy. You know, they feel comfortable with you, they're open to you telling their story, and they're more comfortable, and you can tell a better story.
I guess it's kind of like when you arrive at the wedding, you're already friends, you know, they already know you quite well, and you already know them quite well. And
we don't always have that opportunity. So, you know, quite a few of our couples come through wedding planners, and when a couple have a wedding planner, they have a wedding planner because they're so super busy. And so, you know, don't get us wrong, you know, we have had weddings quite often when we turn up and we have to be introduced to the bride. We don't even know which one the bride is or the groom. And you know, as photographers, and we're professionals, and we've been doing this a long time, and so you go in and you do a great job, and you make sure that you absolutely, you know, you do your very, very best. But it certainly helps so much when you go in and you know you've already developed that rapport and that trust with them, and you kind of feel like friends.
Yeah, and that's, I think, with regards to any photographer, and that's, you know, everybody talks today about your ideal client and understanding your brand, but it is really important if you understand yourself and understand your ideal client and the kind of weddings you want to work in. You know, 'cause we target the high end market, and we work with billionaire clients. We work with, and our bread and butter clients are the bankers and the lawyers. If you're not comfortable working in that environment, then you're not going to be able to tell the story. You have to be able to engage with your clients on their level. And so it is understanding who you are as a business and an individual, and finding the clients that you click with and who get you.
Fantastic. So you touched briefly there that, you know, your bread and butter is the lawyers and the bankers, and a lot of your clients have large budgets for weddings, and they may work a more high profile job than others. You mentioned on your website that you've turned over an insane £1 million in the last 5 years. What's your secret, guys? What do you put your success down to?
Well, I mean, we put that out there because, you know, we want other photographers, now we're training and we want to pass on our knowledge. We want other photographers to understand it's possible. You know, you don't be limited by that VAT ceiling. You can break through it. You really can. And
I think that's a big barrier for a lot of photographers in the industry, isn't it? You're either past it and you're comfortable with it, or you're constantly trying to keep yourself below it. Exactly.
And there's no reason why it has to be a ceiling, and it has to be that, oh my God, you know, I don't want to, you know, start paying extra. So
I think it's about having belief in yourself. So much of it, you know, the photographers that we have coming, that we help, so many of them don't believe that they're worthy of charging more money. And so much of it is all about your mindset. And I think that's such an important part of business. It is all about, having belief that you are good enough. But it's also important, you know, to have a very strong brand, to have something about you that makes you stand out. So, you know, the book that we have created, that is one of the things that we have, which do set us apart from other people, so that when we are being pitched, we can say, well, you have this, you know, and this is, you know, there is nothing else like it. And so it's encouraging, I think, you know, saying to photographers, find something that is different for you. You know, and yes, you know, the answer might not come fast, and you may have to really look. Don't look at what other people are doing, because that will just then mean that you're copying them. But find something which is you, and that is going to set you apart, whatever that is, whether it's a particular style of photography, whether it's a product, whether it's something about you on the day, whether it's, you know, just something.
The key, you know, there are a number of things that will enable you as a photographer, whoever you are, to, you know, to get, you know, start earning more money. And the key really is, from what we've learned and our feedback from, you know, wedding planners we've worked with, because, you know, we do work with you know, some of the best wedding planners in the industry, and, you know, we're up against, you know, amazing photographers. And the key is having a really strong brand, understanding who you are as a photographer, offering exceptional customer service. You know, it is wrapped up in the experience that you're giving
from beginning to end, right from the very second that you have contact with them.
So offering a really high level of customer service, and offering, you know, obviously amazing photography, but and the products that are right for your clients.
But the people, you know, the clients are out there, and I know also at the moment, you know, what's quite poignant at the moment is people are worried about, you know, next year, and that people haven't got the budgets, and we don't know, you know, you know, we've got to think positive, and hopefully, you know, weddings will come back next year, and there will be, you know, a new norm will have come in. But in terms of, you know, there are still lots and lots and lots of couples who are out there who are getting married, who are really excited and have the budget. You know, you know, for them, you know, this hasn't changed their budget for the wedding. And so, you know, to any photographers out there who are worried about, you know, next year and finding couples who can, you know, spend, you know, a nice amount on photography, they are there.
It is understanding, you know, you can, when you're positioning yourself within the industry as a brand, you know, you can position yourself on price, which is totally fine and justifiable. It's, you know, it's a strategy that's valid. But if you position yourself on price, you're always going to be discussing price for your clients, and you're always going to be up against people with you're always going to be competing on price. So if you're able to position yourself, have belief in what you offer, create a quality offering, have belief in your ability, and position yourself based on the quality of what you do. And then your engagement with your ideal clients, you know, people coming to you, will be on a different level. You don't have to always compete on price. And that's really important.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's definitely a difficult one, isn't it? I think a lot of photographers do feel that, you know, they always have that push and pull within themselves of, do I up my prices? Do I stay the same? And there's always that constant battle, I think, for anyone. But I think it's, as you say, you know, just believing in yourself, as you said, Pippa, and knowing your worth, and also not necessarily just focusing on it's all about the price. It's about the experience that you offer the couple.
Yeah. Totally.
You guys touched kind of briefly there on, you know, that photographers are perhaps worried about next year. You've already mentioned that you only shoot 25 weddings a year. Is your strategy there going to pivot for next year? Because, I mean, there's a lot of photographers in the industry that are, you know, they've booked double the amount for next year with purely just postponements from this year.
Yeah, I think I don't know how many we will be doing in the end next year, but yeah, I think we are
more than usual.
Going to be going over 25.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean,
it's going to be an exceptional. a strange, extraordinary, exceptional year, whatever. It's definitely not going to be the norm next year.
But anyone who's going to come out of this on top, we've got to adapt. We've got to, be prepared to, maybe shoot a few more weddings than we really ideally want to. But I mean, the reason that we do shoot fewer weddings is because we invest so much time in each wedding. We so you only do have a finite amount of time.
Absolutely.
We won't be sleeping.
We'll all find our way through it.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. We just have to find our way, isn't it? And it's literally at the moment, I think, just taking it month by month.
Yeah,
and next year it will take. It will happen. It will work out. We don't know quite how it will work out, but it will work out somehow.
Yeah, we're all in the dark together, aren't we? We're all
completely
a little light of a torch and hoping that we reach the end all together. So it's one of those. We've just got to, each day as it comes, and the wedding industry, I'm sure, will turn itself around. And as you say, we will have a new normal. It's just we don't know what that new normal is going to be yet.
Completely.
You guys touched briefly as well on wedding planners. So do you get an awful lot of your work via wedding planners? Do you have a lot of wedding planners involved in your work?
Probably about half to 2/3 are through wedding planners and venues that we're recommended with.
So how did that all start for you, getting in touch with wedding planners and getting that rapport with wedding planners? Because I know a lot of photographers, that's maybe something that they know is there, but don't necessarily know how to start those conversations or ascertain those relationships.
So I think, it's a really good question. And again, we have, when the photographers that we help to coach, a lot of this, again, it's about mindset, and it's about, the wedding planner is a human being, and they want to hear from you as much as you want to contact them. They want to hear from new photographers that they haven't necessarily heard of, or maybe they've heard of you and they've been following you on Instagram, or they've been, meaning to reach out to you, but, they haven't had time. So it's about just going for it and not, and contacting them as you would anybody. So you can reach out. The amazing thing this now is that there's so many ways to reach out to people. So when we first started, wedding planners were right on my radar right from the beginning. Mm-hmm. So way back in 2005, 2006, and there was so few wedding planners then. But I would pick up the phone and I would just chat to them, or I would drop them an email and then follow in with a phone call, and then arrange to meet up. Now there are so many more planners to contact. There are many more ways to reach out. But whether it's on Instagram, whether it's on DM them, or whether it's phoning, whether it's email, whether it's whatever way it is, it's about finding the planners that feel right for you. It's not just about, okay, she's a planner or he's a planner, I'll contact them. Mm-hmm. It's about looking at their work and seeing whether they resonate with your brand, whether you feel a connection, whether you feel, that you would work well together. Because
there are planners who work at all the different levels of the industry. So it is finding the one that's right for you.
And there are wedding planners that specialise in, whether they, marquee weddings or Asian weddings or Jewish weddings. And it's finding your niche, finding those planners that fit with your ideal client. And again, it comes back to having real clarity on who your ideal client is. So every single thing, every action that you do, that you take, is all about getting your ideal client and not deviating from that. And then it's
working with wedding planners it's a marketing stream. That's how if you decide that wedding planners are a way to your ideal client, then that's where you need to invest your time. And one of Pip's superpowers is tenacity. She's extremely tenacious. Yeah. So, and that's
what I say. Don't so many photographers, they send an email out to a planner and then don't hear back, and they're like, "Oh, well, okay, that didn't work." And it's like, no, No, you keep going.
And that's
you keep going. And of course, if down the line, you're just not getting anything from them, then okay, park it, or put a lid on it, and focus your attentions on somebody else. But
that's one of the key.
Don't stop at the first hurdle.
That's one of the keys to our success as a business, I think, is Pip's tenacity and she's a real people person. So, and that's one of our key pieces of advice to all of our photographers that we mentor and work with is you don't give up at the first hurdle. You've got to keep going. If you know what's right for your business, the marketing stream, that the people that are going to get the clients to you, you just got to keep going. You've got to keep working at it and just be tenacious. But
also, and this is super important now when there's so many more photographers out there who are contacting these planners. So there's so much more competition now than when that long time ago when I first started. And so it's about, I think the mistake that many photographers make, and this is a huge generalization, but what we see is photographers will contact a planner, can I work with you? It's about flipping it and going, okay, you're a fantastic planner. I love what you do. I'd love to be able to work with you. What can I do to help you right now? How can I help you, so that we can then work together?
And it's the same with venues.
It's the same with venues. It's the same networking. It's all about what can I do to help you, to make your life easier? And as photographers, we have such a great, we have photographs. We're photographers. Planners want photographs. That's how they can show their work.
Yeah.
And so it's about, and it's really important for planners, for many of them, they want to work with lovely people who are really easy to work with, people who they can just, let them get on with their own, let them get on with their own job on the day. They don't need to oversee them and go, oh, well, the meal is starting in 5 minutes time. Have you done the styling shots? They want to be able to just, pass it across and have confidence that the photographer is going to know what to do. And then taking amazing styling shots for the planner. And then after the wedding, delivering them to the planner as soon as you're able to. Obviously, the client is the top priority, of course, always. But then as soon as you are able to, you focus your attention back to the relationship that you have with with the planner. And you're constantly nurturing that relationship, because that planner, you need that planner far more than that planner needs you.
But it is, it's a symbiont relationship. You both have something to give each other. And that's the same with all other, different suppliers within the industry. Florists and makeup artists, and
bridal designers.
It's important to get yourself out there and network within the industry,
and constantly giving to people.
I know there's a big there's two sides in the industry, isn't there, in terms of giving images away? There's people that feel that they should charge, or there's people that just go, have them, like you were involved in the wedding, like I'd love for you to share these. I presume you guys are very much in the camp of have these images, share them.
Absolutely.
Oh, I would. I don't. Yes.
Yeah. Think about think of the bigger picture. Yeah.
Absolutely. I love how you guys said that at the same time.
It's all about the bigger picture.
You're so in tune with each other.
Sometimes, not always.
So you've mentioned a couple of times there about ideal client. I am just going to reverse back to that a little bit. So it's a term that we hear a hell of a lot in the industry. It's something that I think people either feel really in tune with and they know exactly who they're targeting and who they're marketing to, or they have no idea. Do you guys have any tips for that thought process and working out who your ideal client is and how to get to them?
So the key it's a real buzz subject at the moment in the industry, understanding your ideal client but I think the key is understanding why you're doing it. Okay, the reason you need to understand your ideal client, and who you are as a business is purely so you can understand how to speak to your ideal client and get them to find out where they are, so you can market your business to the people you want to work with. So it's all about understanding on what level, where your ideal client hangs out, because it's all about deciding how, if you're going to get those bookings, if you're going to get the clients to come to your business, look at you and decide whether you're the right photographer for them. You need to understand what their values are, where they hang out, their personality, and then once you know that, you know what marketing streams, how to get your message out, whether you invest in your SEO. Are they the kind of clients that will search the internet to try and find a photographer? Are they the kind of clients that hang out on Instagram or hang out on Facebook? Are they the kind of clients that have wedding planners? Are they the kind of clients who invest in a really good venue and trust the venue and are going to, look at their supplier list? So understanding your ideal client at the end of the day is all about working out how to find them.
Working out who they are.
About time efficiency, because the finer the net, the finer the more clarity you have about your ideal client, the easier they are to find. If you're not, and you're just targeting weddings, you're going to have all these people coming to you who might not be the right kind of character that fit with you, or having the kind of style that they want, that you fit with, or the right budget. And so you're spending so much of your time, dealing with those inquiries that don't end up coming into a booking.
And I think there's a real misconception that your ideal client is the person you want to hang out at the pub with. It's the kind of client that you. And yes, that might be right. If you just, as a wedding photographer, you just want to hang out with people who are just like your friends, then that's cool. But for us, for instance, that's not necessarily the case. Our ideal client isn't necessarily the person that we would hang out with, because we have
a great relationship with them.
We have a great relationship, and we know we can.
But that's different.
We engage with them. It's all about finding out your ideal client, understanding the touch points that you can hit to get them to invest in you.
Fantastic, thank you. So as well as being wildly successful photographers, you also have the Wisdom Mill. Can you tell us a little bit more about the whole education side of your business and what made you start the Wisdom Mill? Where did it all come from?
So I think there was a number of things that kind of happened. So we launched it last year. So we've been in business for 14 years. We felt, first of all, we were often asked by photographers to help to give them advice on the business side of photography, and so we were constantly doing that, which was lovely, and it was great that photographers felt that they wanted to ask us. We also felt, we kind of looked at that and thought, gosh, we've been doing this for 14 years. We've learned so much along the way. And there's so much that we can actually give back. And when we kind of, we looked at it more and we wrote down all the things that we've learned, and, there's so much that we have, and mistakes that we've made, things that have worked, things that haven't worked. So that was all a big part of it. And then I mean, for me, not bizarrely, but I guess it all kind of, I don't know what the word is I'm wanting. When I left uni, I actually thought for a while that I wanted to be a teacher.
Okay.
And so when I went to uni, I began doing a teacher training degree, and I hated it. I hated the actual teaching. But then, in terms of teaching in a school, but I've always felt a real passion about helping people and teaching, but I hadn't found actually what it was I wanted to do or who. Yeah. So it kind of just all kind of fell into place where we were like, okay, this is the right time. We have something big to give back.
And we have found it. We've really enjoyed the last year and a bit since we started, you know, working with other photographers, giving back. I mean, we've got a beautiful home here in West Sussex, and we have people to us. We spend a day with them. You know, we have a real intensive business training day with them based around their needs as a photographer. You know, how on their business. But it's just been amazing. It's just been really. It's so fulfilling. You know, knowing that we can help people and seeing the results and seeing them progress and improve their business. It's really, really rewarding.
I think also it's not just about the practical side of business. You know, yes, absolutely. You know, business is about having, as we talked about, you know, defining who your ideal client is, who you are as a photographer, creating a strategy of what do you need to do to find those people. That's all really, really important parts of a successful business, and we help enormously with that. But I think also, as we touched on earlier in this interview, is that a lot of it is about mindset. And so I actually trained earlier this year in life coaching and as an NLP coach. And so it's a big part of also what we do, that we're able to help with, is all about helping photographers believe in themselves. Yeah. And so, yeah, as Ian said, you know, we're very lucky with the location that we're in. And so when we do one-on-ones, we have various kind of options for photographers. It's about finding what's right for them. But one of the options is they come to us for a day, and we have an annex, and so they come and stay. And, you know, in that day, everybody learns in different ways. So, you know, the first part of the day can be going for a walk. And we'll be back onto vineyards in the South Downs. And I think you can often get the most amount of clarity and kind of offloading of how you're really feeling by walking. Yeah. And so, you know, it's not about coming and sitting down at a desk or a table and, you know, in a formal way. It's a very organic kind of day that we have to really get the very, very best out of the photographer that we're helping.
And because we've got the annex, we have a lot of photographers come and stay. And if they stay, we have dinner with them in the evening.
Make them dinner.
We just spend the evening, you know, chatting about
wine and just chatting more about
work and life. Yeah. And it's great getting to know lots of different people, you know, new people within the industry at the start of their journey and following their journey. But also what we've done this year, we've created an online course. Which we've engaged with Studio Ninja with. And the course is the Wedding Photographer's Business Toolkit. And it's great to be able to have something online that photographers can, you know, it's a course it's all encompassing with business. It helps photographers who are new to the industry really understand every aspect of running a really successful wedding photography business. And it's, again, just putting that out there and getting feedback from photographers that, you know, how much it's helping. And that's why, you know, that's why we created the Wisdom Mill, was to help people.
It sounds like that's exactly what you guys have done. It sounds incredible. I love it.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
So we've touched there briefly on the Wisdom Mill very much helps not just photographers that are already there and doing their thing, but people that are new to the industry as well. So for people out there who are just starting their journey in wedding photography, what would you recommend what some of their key action plans should be for the next 12 months?
Okay, good question. Big question.
So I think, I mean, first and foremost, they need to master their craft. You know, they need to, you know, whether, you know, get on workshops and just get as much experience as you possibly can to master the craft of photography. Understanding light, all of the practical elements of being a photographer. Make sure you can deliver on the promise of being a wedding photographer.
Yeah.
And then defining your style. Make sure, and this is something again we see with a lot of photographers coming into the industry, is they don't really understand, and you can see it in their website, they don't really understand who they are as a photographer. So understanding your style, how do you want to be, what kind of photographs do you want to deliver, what do you want to be known for, and what else?
Your mindset. I come back to this again because it is so important. You can be a great photographer and you can have a strategy that on paper is great, but if you don't believe in yourself, then you can't implement that and you can't do yourself justice. So I think it's about having, you are a photographer, yes, absolutely. But also it's about understanding, and this is something which a lot of photographers don't necessarily want to hear, but we're salespeople. We have to sell ourselves. And that comes from, we've had the best advice. We invested in a business coach in 2009. And the one thing that I remember every day and I remind myself of is one thing that they said to us, which was sales. That we are actually, yes, we're photographers, but we are salespeople. We're entrepreneurs, we're photographers, but we're also salespeople. And sales is a transfer of enthusiasm. And if you just remember those, sales is a transfer of 6 words. 6 words, I think it is. If you can just remember that, and every time that you are engaging with, a potential couple or a couple who have already booked with you, or just every just as much as possible, put it on as a mantra on your wall. Sales is a transfer of enthusiasm. If you do that, that is in itself the greatest thing that you can do.
Yeah. So as a new photographer, is really understanding business is everything.
Yeah.
Photography. We take. There's a fact we have in the course that we read online that photography is probably 4% of what we do. Everything else is wrapped up in business, and you really need to have a good business head, and you need to invest in your business, learn business, marketing, branding, understand who you are as a business, get clarity in that, understand your clients, and invest. If you don't have the skills to create a website, if you don't have the skills to design your marketing material, outsource. You must invest in your business, invest in yourself, and invest in your business.
And I've got another one. Also, to get yourself out there, to show yourself.
Network.
So a lot of photographers they have beautiful photographs, and they're trying to implement the business strategy, but they are hiding behind Facebook ads, and they're hiding. You need to show yourself. You need to, whether it's an Instagram stories or whether it's networking, and actually rather than just emailing a planner, you get on the phone, you get a video call. It's all about getting you out there.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. That's fantastic advice, guys. Thank you. So, you've been working together as a couple for quite some time now. Do you perhaps have any funny stories that you can tell us about whilst you've been working together?
Probably.
Yeah. Working together as a couple, we are, 2 different characters.
We're very different characters.
Yeah, we have,
So little things that are different about us, I guess. So we share an office and we both have our own desks. I have to have everything very, very tidy and neat and uncluttered.
Yeah.
Ian works in totally the opposite way.
Creative chaos.
He calls it creative chaos, but he can never find anything.
That's not true.
But
You always have to. Pippa always makes me laugh whenever we're shooting a wedding together. Pippa is fantastic. Coming from a production background in TV, Pippa schedule is fantastic. It's always so. It's got every bit of detail you could possibly need. So whenever we shoot a wedding, we have our schedule and we know every detail about what everyone's phone numbers, the wedding planner, the couple, all the details, all the timings. But whenever we go to a wedding, Pippa we always have to get there an hour early.
At least an hour early. And if we're travelling a distance, if it's like 2 hours away, I'll say we need to allow 5 hours. So actually quite often we'll get there 3 hours early, or, like 6 in the morning, or that's a slight exaggeration. Yeah. But yeah, I quite often will arrive, and we have quite a lot of time to kind of wait around. To
drink lots of coffee.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, the story, this is quite funny. So we talked about earlier how sometimes we have a wedding, we have 2 weddings or even 3 weddings on one day. So there was one day, one weekend when I was photographing a wedding in Kent, and Ian was in Monaco.
Oh, Monte Carlo.
Monte Carlo, yeah.
Yeah. So I was, it was the morning of the wedding. It was the morning.
No, it was the evening before.
Oh, was it the evening before? And I sent Pippa, I sent you a photograph of, I was with one of our associates, Stephen, and we were sat in Monte Carlo in the marina, the harbour, surrounded by all these huge boats.
Eating lobster.
And I photographed what we were doing and sent it to Pip. And then I got a photograph back, and Pip was sat in a service station.
In Dover. Eating a kebab. And that was my evening before.
Yeah. Oh, bless you.
That is fun.
Yeah.
Oh, dear me. It was literally how the other half was living this time. I love that. They're fantastic stories. So your lives sound very full of hustle and bustle. It sounds like you're always a million miles an hour with so many arms of your business now. What do you guys do to relax? What do you do to get away from that never-ending to-do list that photographers have?
So I find switching off quite hard. So this is another way in which we're quite different. Ian's very good at closing. Yeah, you switch off immediately, and I'm often still thinking. So my ways for kind of switching off and away from business are more. I love exploring this area. We live in such a beautiful part of the world. We're so lucky. So I often go for walks, really, really big walks along through the downs and the vineyards. I used to run a lot. I've currently in February I broke my ankle, so it's fine now, but I've had to kind of work up on the exercise, but it's been an amazing opportunity to walk and find places that are just on our doorstep that we didn't know about. So I love exercising. I love baking. We obviously have Poppy, who's 7, so it's juggling and having really quality time as a family.
Which has been a great thing about the great thing about the last 4 months.
Yeah, 3-4 months. It has been good. Yeah. And you? What do you do?
Well, I'm
completely different.
Completely different. I'm a big movie fan, so I've got a little workshop, so I make things in the workshop, movie prop replicas in the workshop. And also, one of the great things about being self-employed is, our time is ours to decide how we do it. So a few years ago, I had the opportunity to, through a Facebook ad, popped up about movie extra work. So so for the last 4 months, I get every now and again just to go away for a few days and just mess around on a movie set and just live in a totally separate world, which is great. And I find that really a great thing to do, just to get away from the constant work of being a self-employed and just go and do something different.
That sounds marvelous. That's amazing. Have you been on any sets that you can perhaps tell us a little bit about?
Well, the first job I did was Transformers last night. If you've seen that movie, there's a huge battle sequence at the beginning of the movie.
Yep.
I got to dress up as a Saxon warrior and run around Bournewood outside Farnham, which is where it was. It's been if you watch the Marvel movies, in all the Marvel movies, it's in Jurassic World. This wood, it was originally Jurassic World.
Oh.
It was originally used for the opening scene of Gladiator, with the big battle scene of Gladiator. So it's in loads of movies. So I did that. Pyrotechnics, explosions everywhere, helicopter flying overhead. And,
wow.
But we had to go through the movie literally frame by frame to see whether we could see Ian way in the distance.
Yeah,
we couldn't see you in that one.
But no, so that one I've done Mary Queen of Scots with Margot Robbie and Saoirse Ronan. That was really cool. Yeah, that was really cool. The Current War with Benedict Cumberbatch and Tom Holland, did a really cool scene with them in a courtroom scene. And then most amazing was All Is True with Kenneth Branagh, the film about Shakespeare. I did that, and I'm actually in the credits in that one. I'm actually a member of the cast. I had a speaking part. Yeah, so it's just amazing just to get away and just do something totally different for a few days.
Oh, what an experience!
Yeah.
So if you guys,
cakes.
yeah, if you guys could start all this over again, is there anything that you would do differently?
Invest in yourself, I think I think when you start, you don't have, you think that you have to do everything yourself. And I certainly felt like that, starting in 2005. It wasn't until 2009 when Ian came on board that we then went, okay, we need to get some, we need to bring in a business coach, and we need to really see, we need some clarity and some help in a vision, in finding where we need to go. And I wish I'd done that at the beginning. So my big thing is investing in yourself. And yes, it's money, but it's worth every single penny. If you invest in the right person who can really help you, it will take years out of your journey, quite literally. So that's my big thing. Yeah,
I mean, would we have done anything differently? Yes, we would, but in general, I'd say no, because we're all on our own journey. We're all on a journey, and all our decisions take us a certain path. I mean, we have made mistakes. We all make mistakes, and we've learned from them.
But it's feedback. It's not failure. Every mistake that you make is a step closer to, you learn from it.
And that's the advice. I think that's the advice we'd kind of give anyone starting out is believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Invest in yourself, and just, yeah.
And also it's very, very easy to be comparing yourself with everybody else. And I know, it's something we all do, and it is such a time waster. It's such an energy waster. It is so destructive to your own journey if you're constantly looking at what other people are doing. So it's about, yes, look at what other people are doing and be aware, but remember, this is your journey. You're at a different stage to those people that you're looking at. Make your journey unique. And
have full belief in yourself, and throw yourself into it 110%.
Be the very best you can be, not what somebody else is, but be the very best that you can be.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I feel like anyone listening to this podcast right now is going to finish this and be like, I believe in myself. I can do this.
Oh, yes, you can do it.
They'll be like, Pippa and Ian were totally right. So just to finish up, guys, if you can add one piece of advice, maybe something that has really made a difference in your life, it can be business or personal, what would that be?
I think come back to what I've just said, actually, is having belief in yourself.
Oh, completely. Completely.
It all revolves
really
around
understand who you are. understand who you are, what you want to do with your business, and just have full belief in yourself and go for it.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
You can totally do it.
If our listeners want to find out a little bit more about you guys, can you just drop some links for us that they can head over to?
Will do. Absolutely.
Yeah. So if they want to find out about our the training business, it's thewisdommill.com.
Yeah.
And our wedding photography website is pippamckenzie.com.
Fantastic. Lovely. Well, it has been an absolute pleasure to chat with you both today. I've loved every second. Thank you so much for joining us, and hopefully I will catch up with you both very soon.
Thank you for having us.
It's a pleasure. Thank you, guys. See you soon.
Bye. Bye.
Okay guys, that's everything from me today. Thank you so much to Ian and Pippa for joining us. It was amazing to chat to them, and they shared so many great hints and tips with you too. For the show notes, or to head over to their website, you can go to www.studioninja.co/episode 8. I'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to this episode of NinjaCast, brought to you by Studio Ninja. Beautifully designed and super easy to use, Studio Ninja will help you manage your leads, clients, shoots, invoices, contracts, workflows, and so much more. To learn more or start your 30-day free trial, go to www.studioninja.co.